Hey everybody. Okay, so I had a really bad day at work today. Well, it could have been worse. Let's be honest. But let's talk about refunds for a minute. Seriously, people need to get that we have a refund policy for a reason, and it's so frustrating when they just won't take no for an answer. I had this lady today, and if you ever see this, which I highly doubt, you know who you are. Anyway, she had these sheets and stuff that she got from us, and you can't buy them from anyone else, so it's pretty obvious that they're ours. But she didn't have a receipt, and one of my staff members told her that, you can't get a refund normally unless you've got the receipt, proof of purchase. Anyway, she got pretty shirty and ended up coming in talking to me, and I said to her, yeah, you can get a red voucher, which is basically credit inside the store. So you can't get cash back for it because you don't have a receipt. You only get what the item scans for now, not what you probably would have paid for it. And she was fine about that, whatever. She had a huge big whinge about my staff member, and I was like, get over it. She's told you the right thing. You've not been ripped off. You've gotten more than what you're really entitled to anyway. And she just went on and on and on. I was like, okay, fine. Could you waste any more of my time, really? So anyway, yeah, she got that. Anyway, she rings up the next little bit later, and she had a grill that she's bought, and she doesn't have a receipt for it, and she's like, oh, I could have bought it at your store or maybe a Target. And I've gone, well, I'm not giving you a refund on it if you don't even know where you bought it. And, when it's not something that's exclusive to our store, we don't give a refund without a receipt, because how am I supposed to know where you bought it? You could have picked it up off the side of the road for all I know. Yeah, and she's like trying to get money back on that. And then we gave her the red voucher, which is store credit. So whatever you buy with that, you can't get cash back. If you buy something with that, the receipt on the bottom says, not available for cash back. You have to get an exchange or something else. Anyway, she's trying to pay off a lay-by with it, which you can't do, because if you pay off a lay-by and then try and return the items, you can't get cash back for them. So you're not allowed to pay off a lay-by with a red voucher. Anyway, she gets her lay-by off with cash and goes down to the service desk. And then she gets them to refund the lay-by and rebuys the stuff with the red voucher. So I'm like, well, whatever. She's been such a pain in the butt. Just let her do it so we can get her out of our hair. But I mean, seriously, come on. What is the point? I mean, how ridiculous is that? And I said to the girls, does she realise she can't get cash back if she takes that receipt to another store or takes that stuff back? And they're like, well, we didn't tell her that. I'm like, well, you probably should have, because I bet you anything she's trying to get cash back on something she doesn't have a receipt for, and she won't be able to. And then she's going to have a whinge about that. Because I tell you, seriously, she could talk the leg off an iron pot. She had me going for ages. So yeah, we kind of get sus of those people. I mean, we have a refund policy that is was really laxed. I mean, a few years ago, if you brought stuff back, even if you didn't have a receipt, and we're pretty sure you didn't buy it from us, but it was something that we've carried before, we would give you your money back for it, even without a receipt, which I think is ridiculous. And we've created a bad culture by doing that, but whatever. I should also say, this is just my views. Anyone from the company, whatever. I know you have your own views on the policy and that, but just, this is how I feel about it. But yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, if you don't have proof of purchase, don't bring it back. And there was a guy, I've been dealing with him, well, he bought a fridge about a year ago, and he'd been having problems with it, and about 6 months later, after he bought it, I had to get it replaced for him. I did that was fine. I never heard from him again. And then anyway, I got a call about a week ago, and he's going off his tree. He'd been talking to head office apparently, which I know nothing about, and a repair company trying to get this thing fixed for a year, he reckons. And anyway, he was just absolutely ridiculous. He was telling me he's going to drop the thing at the front of my store and chain it to the doors, fill it up with pig shit, and just leave it there. And I said to him, don't do that, because I'll call the police. And he goes, well, what would you do that for? I said, well, hello, you're being an idiot. I didn't actually say that. I said, you're being ridiculous. And I said, just don't do it. And anyway, so he goes, okay, fine. Anyway, I got on to head office, told him what I was going to do. I offered him a red voucher, which is in-store credit for the amount that he would have paid for the thing, even though he has no receipt, and it's been well over a year, and I've never heard anything else about it. I mean, hello, it's dodgy as anything. And I said to him, that fridge has to come back in as good a condition as it possibly can. The only thing that should be wrong with it is the fact that it doesn't work. So I've called it back on a Saturday when I wasn't working, and he's given it to the guys, and they've given him the voucher and everything. And you should see this fridge. It's ridiculous. It's been sitting in a cow paddock, obviously, for a year, because it's got fruit flies growing inside of it. We opened it, and all these fruit flies came flying out. It smells like somebody died in it. All the back, where all the element and the motor is completely rusted out. If I had been there, I would have said to him no, because that's... I mean, you don't... I mean, fair enough if you buy something and it doesn't work, and you may not always have your receipt. Yeah, sometimes we'll offer you your refund, whatever, if it's fair. But you don't decide you're going to get a refund on something, leave it sit, obviously, outside for like 4 or 5 months, and then decide to bring it back and complain about it at the same time. I'm like, this guy is ridiculous. I mean, if I was going to return something, I'd put it back in its box, or I'd tidy it up at least and have it clean. If I had something that was completely used and disgusting, even if it didn't work and I'd had it for a while, I probably wouldn't return it. I would just throw it in the bin. I don't know. Anyway, he got his red voucher, went around and picked all this stuff that he wanted, but he was about $50 or $60 short of the red voucher, and it says clearly on the voucher you can't get change on a voucher unless you spend 90% of the total value. And he didn't want to get an extra $30 worth of stuff, so he couldn't buy what he had with the red voucher because he wouldn't get any change for what was left on the voucher. So he didn't buy anything. He took the voucher and he's like, I'm going to complain to head office again. I thought, well, good luck with that, because you've got a reputation with them, and I'm the only one that's been trying to help you out here, and you've gone and stood on my toes, so I won't be helping him anymore either. I'm like, what are you doing with people? I mean, seriously, they bring back bras, sheets, any type of clothing, or, you know, shoes, pots and pans, cutlery. It's all used and disgusting, and they're like, oh, we don't want this, we've got a receipt. And unfortunately, with our returns policy, if they've got a receipt, you have to give them the money back, which I think really sucks, because a lot of the time you'll get cutlery back and there are rust marks on it, and I'm sorry, but any product like that will rust if you wash it and then leave it sitting on your kitchen sink with water on it. Where that water sits, you'll get a rug. My cutlery does that, and I'm not returning it. I'm like, and they don't keep packaging. Like, we got a bra back the other day. It was yellow under the armpits and on the front, and I wouldn't return that. I'd be embarrassed to return that. But people around here obviously are not. They're like, ooh, yeah, I need some extra money. Let's go and return this crap. And I'm like, mind you, that bra was 8 months old. If you've been wearing something for 8 months and then you decide you didn't like it, pretty sure you've already worn it out. The reason you don't like it is probably because you've stretched it out of shape. So yeah. But we find that we get a lot of that around rates time, when everyone gets their house rates and stuff and their property rates, because people want extra money to pay their bills, so they bring stuff back that they think they don't need anymore, and it's really pathetic. If they've got a receipt, we kind of have to give it to them. But yeah, our refunds policy sucks. We need to be able to say that if there's no proof of purchase, you can't get a refund, and if the products are used beyond a couple of days and then something went wrong, beyond a fault, or the fact that you'd only used it like once and it really didn't suit the purpose you bought it for, then maybe it would be fine. But don't bring it back like 4 months later after you well and truly used it and worn it in. I mean, there's got to be some level of discretion there. And then they look at you like you're stupid when you refuse the refund. And they're like, you've got to be kidding me. And I'm like, well, you've got to be kidding me. Have you seen what you've brought back to me to try and get a refund? I mean, the only thing you can do with it is throw it in the bin. And I'm sorry, that's pathetic. If it's a product fault, that's different, but people bring back like frying pans that are like black on the bottom. That's not a product fault. That's because you've left it on the stove while the stove's been on for like 2 hours and boiled it dry. People are just... I'm sorry, I'm having a whinge because at work I have to be so nice and polite to them, and you just have to bend over backwards, and I'm really, really sick of it. And I mean, yeah, like, fair enough, if there is a product fault and if the person is in the right, I'm fine with them. I always do what I can for them, but it's the scabs, the ones that come back and you know they're just doing it because they want some extra money to spend on booze or something pathetic, or they're just being shady. I mean, a couple of months ago we had these people sliding stuff under registers and that, getting it out, bringing it back for a refund without a receipt because they'd stolen it, they didn't buy it. And we then refuse them, and they're like, oh, what did you refuse me for? I'm like, well, hello, you stole it, because no one's getting out like 10 of these 1,000 thread count sheets and returning it when they look like you do. So anyway, that's my rant. It's 10 minutes. I gotta go. See yous.